All right, let's see. Let's tune into CNN if they're covering it or not. Netanyahu's warplane is out. It's in the air. Drones are on the way.
We'll see what happens.
Israel.
And so we have a president and an administration that has tried very hard to keep this conflict from widening out. From the moments that October 7th unfurled, they have tried very hard to keep this conflict from becoming bigger. As you're alluding to there, this really raises the risk of the conflict spilling over and getting much larger. What can President Biden and his team do right now as they both signify that they will be standing by Israel as an ally and doing, and as Jake Sullivan said, ironclad support for Israel, but also trying to keep this from widening out?
Sure. Well, look, it looks like they've been doing all the right things the last few days with regard to talking to the Israelis. I assume sharing intelligence, talking to Arab partners as well in the region. We got to keep in mind they have vested interests here, but they're doing all the same things that I did, that my colleagues did when the Trump administration faced off against Iran in late 2019 and early 2020. I think it was very prudent to move destroyers into the vicinity. They have very great anti-missile and other anti-drone capabilities that would help Israel shoot down any incoming attacks. And again, if it's cruise missiles or drones and ballistic missiles, it's such a far distance we can see those and track those, and it'll make them easier to shoot those down. So I think a big part of it now is, if this is real, is to shoot down as many, if not all, that you can. That, of course, if there's little damage, that gives Israel.
According to Elint News, we have 6 hours for the drones go all the way over to make it all the way to Israel. Iraqi security officials have confirmed that dozens of one-way suicide drones have been detected over southern and eastern Iraq after entering via Iranian airspace, and that they are heading west. So let's see where this goes. Yeah, fun day is over. Sorry to everybody that wanted a fun day. Here it is. These drones will likely take many hours to reach Israel if launched from Iran. If cruise missiles are used, they are likely to be launched in the coming hours, as they take a few hours to reach Israel, and then ballistic missiles will be launched last if they are to be used, and they take less than 10 minutes to reach Israel. Video retweeted by Osin account. Unknown drones over Diyala Governorate, northern Baghdad. I don't know what's happening there. I don't know I don't know if that's a real one or not. But will the Turkish U.S. bases will drag Turkey into it? I mean, we'll see. Depending on how Israel retaliates, because remember, Israel is the country that bombed technically Iranian soil in Damascus, in Syria, by bombing the Iranian consulate compound. This was a direct violation of international law. This was a direct violation and also a major escalation in this conflict. It's not about Israel showing restraint. It's about what America does. It was about what America does from the jump. I talked about this extensively yesterday. The fact that Joe Biden, after October 7, gave a bear hug and no red lines approach to Benjamin Netanyahu, caused Israel to feel like they could do whatever the fuck they wanted, and they could very easily bring America into the conflict. Okay? And they violated numerous red lines, as you guys know, both the ethnic cleansing in Gaza, but beyond that, way more severe red lines that they violated, such as striking Beirut, Lebanon, not just southern Lebanon, but straight up striking Beirut, and then another red line when they struck the Iranian consulate and the Iranian consulate compound in Syria, in Damascus. Beyond that, obviously, there were, of course, locations that were attacking Americans versus the Iranian proxy groups in both Syria and Iraq. That is the norm, just like it was the norm for Hezbollah to strike targets in northern Syria versus Israel striking targets in southern Lebanon. But there were moments where Israel went above and beyond in the most belligerent fashion, likely escalating the tensions in the region and likely creating more destabilization with the hopes that they could bring the United States of America into the conflict directly. Benjamin Netanyahu's plane is already in the air, by the way. This is an amazing story by Tal Shalev. Ahead of a possible attack from Iran, Netanyahu moved over the weekend to the house of Simon Falek in Jerusalem, which according to previous reports is a fortified bunker. Falek is a U.S. billionaire, a GOP donor, and the owner of Duty Free America. Netanyahu stayed at his house at the beginning of the war after rockets were fired on Jerusalem. It's 1:13 a.m. They tweeted a few days ago that the attack would happen at 1:12. I mean, sure. That's, irrelevant in my opinion. All right.
And that Israel had said it will respond in kind to whatever Iran ultimately does. And you can't help but realize that we're teetering right on an edge here, Mark, and that we are at this very precarious moment where President Biden and his team are facing what could not just become an expanding conflict, but an incredibly serious one that you're kind of laying out before us right now.
Yeah, look, it's not unusual that, again, it may just be a limited attack of cruise missiles or drones at, again, an Israeli outpost or command post in the Golan Heights. Whether they hit or miss, the Iranians will privately claim victory to the Iranian people, and they'll privately convey messages to Israel and the United States that they're done, they're through, they made their point, and that'll be the end of it to some degree. So, there are a wide range of things that could happen here. And as I said earlier, this could just be one aspect of it, too. They could go after Israeli embassies abroad, as another mean to kind of inflict the punishment they want. This is a country that goes eye for an eye. They're going to want to attack a like target with a like outcome. What happened is...
What do you mean go for eye for an eye? It's just like that's the norm.
Liners in Iran, enough to establish.
And they haven't gone eye for an eye at all, as a matter of fact. If anything, they've been infinitely more restrained than Israel. Israel's the one that has escalated over and over and over again.
It'll be...
Famously, by the way, Israel making the world very safe for Jewish people living in Israel. Once again, just remember that fucking line that no Jew in the world would be saved without Israel. Doesn't seem so safe for the Jews living in Israel right now. Doesn't seem safe for anyone living in Israel or anyone living in America even. And it's kind of wild because this kind of belligerent action in the region was, of course, going to draw up some kind of response, some kind of retaliation. It's weird. It's weird to think that like every single thing I've been saying for fucking years about Israel is just basically coming to fruition as Israel has felt more galvanized year over year over year, especially after the Trump administration and definitely with the Biden administration as well. Absolute chaos happening to commercial traffic rerouting as airspaces are closed for Israel, Jordan, and Iraq. Mass diversion of flights are happening over Western Turkey over the past few minutes as Iraq closes one of the busiest air lanes in the Middle East. Oh, here's another part, by the way. I saw this on, this is N12. IDF bombed dozens of targets in 3 areas of Lebanon, according to N12 News, while everyone is like looking at what the fuck is going to happen with the Iranian retaliation. They might just be doing that specifically because they are worried about a Hezbollah attack as well coming in unison with the IRGC. Jordan declares state of emergency. Likely many other drones and missiles may fly over Jordanian territory. I think they also said that they would strike down drones and missiles that go over their airspace, right? Yeah. Iranian chatter here. Some unofficial Iranian news sources are speculating the drones will be in Israel about 2 hours. Well, we know it's longer than that. I think it's going to take longer than that since it started. Didn't Elant News say it was 6 hours? We hear aircrafts everywhere here in Jordan. Jesus Christ. Do you think the IDF are using this as a distraction now? Would they go ahead with Rafah? No, dude, this is not a distraction. This is an expected consequence of the Israeli military action in the region, specifically striking the Iranian consulate compound in Damascus. That is Iranian soil, killing Iranian officials. That is an act of war against a foreign adversary, a regional actor that demands retaliation. If anything, this is not about like invading Rafah. They're going to have their hands busy with this shit. So instead of invading Rafah, it actually is more so about drawing the United States into drawing the United States into the broader conflict now, which they have. They officially have. N12 reporting that this third wave was launched from Hamadan and reports of interceptions already in Syria. There is now officially a third wave of Iranian drones launched at Israel. Holy shit. And the Lebanese chat is asking, like, I'm in Lebanon. I don't know what Israel will do. Will this be bad? There's a high likelihood, considering that I often say the madman theory is not the Nixon madman theory, but like approaching regional actors as not rational actors, but instead belligerent, violent, bloodthirsty monsters leads to bad analysis. Okay? It does. And the reality is, for Israel, they are as close to a belligerent, violent actor as you can possibly get. And even then, there is still some rationale behind the moves that they're making. The rationale, albeit possibly a miscalculation, okay, albeit miscalculation, is, I assume, bringing the United States into Iran launched third round just moments ago. I know, I already checked your chat. We already covered that. Yes, a third wave of drones have also been launched from Iran. Syria puts air defenses around Damascus and major bases are on high alert, according to Reuters. I said this a couple of days ago, but it does seem, I might be totally off base on this, but it does seem like, given the fact that Iran very clearly spelled out that this would be a retaliation against Israel for the Damascus strike, that their response, while to you guys from afar looks like, overkill, so many drones, is most likely going to try to strike an Israeli target of equal worth. The reason why they're sending hundreds of drones, of course, in 3 different salvos is because Israel, alongside with coalition forces, has tremendous defenses. So they're trying to get through it. That's the reason why. Most of those drones are not going to make it. Some of them will be intercepted above Syria. Some of them will be intercepted above Iraq. And some of them will be intercepted near Israel. Okay? You sound like you are condoning attacking Israel, aka a civilian population. I genuinely don't understand how you can be at the precipice of World War III and still be interested in trying to farm a clip. Literally. That's wild to me. That is actually wild to me. That, there are hundreds of drones currently heading in the direction of Israel. And there are still chatters in here who are like, I can't wait to get a clip off here. I can't wait to get a fucking clip off here. This is going to pop off on Reddit. I have never, oh my God. Just ban and move on. People are freaks. I know. I wonder why he's actually a subscriber too. Well, you can't clip anymore. Probably not because he wants to avoid the top of the hour ad break. Probably he is a subscriber because he wants to clip shit and be able to post it on subreddits. But World War III or not, a 3-minute ad break still comes at the top of the hour.
And the fear is, of course, that given the backdrop, given the tensions, given the fact that we are really in a kind of unprecedented moment, that there are so many things that could go wrong, that there are so many potentially unintended consequences.
I'm Israeli and I live in the north. I'm going to sit in my balcony and just watch the missiles and drones come in law.
That very few people across the region actually want to see. You have had U.S. CENTCOM commander General Eric Kurilla here for 2 days. He just left, talking about how the U.S. will work with Israel to deter any kind of attack. But certainly there is a sense that this is the
Bro, don't rely on the Iron Dome. These are not bathtub missiles. You know what I mean? These are not bathtub missiles being lobbed from fucking Gaza, made by like 17-year-olds using Israeli rocket parts. These are big boy drones and possibly big boy missiles to come as a follow-up. This isn't like, even when Hezbollah ends up striking northern Israel, there is more of a threat than the Hamas and Islamic Jihad rockets. But this is the big dog in the region in comparison to all of the other regional operatives. This is no longer proxies. I mean, proxies are also involved, certainly, but this is the IRGC itself. So I would be very careful.
Yeah, Alex, there's no question that in recent days, Israeli officials have been trying to deter this very scenario, a direct attack by Iranian forces launched.
Yeah, no, they haven't been trying to deter that,
soil
to be
directed
honest.
at Israeli soil. And indeed, in...
Bro, fuck you mean deter? No, they haven't. They've had one speed, dude, and it's go. They've been just hitting go speed non-fucking stop since October 8th.
Israel, meaning an Israeli attack directed at Iranian soil. Now,
it's wild that, like, it wasn't enough to satiate their fucking bloodlust to kill tens of thousands of Palestinians, that they had to also strike Beirut, that they also had to strike a Iranian consulate compound. Like, what are you doing? It's crazy. Every step of the way, I told you that it's fucking insane, that they are behaving in the most belligerent way possible. It was ridiculous. Opening up multiple fronts deliberately is wild to me, especially when considering that that was a major fear from the jump for Israel, was potentially having to fight Hezbollah in the north, possibly withstand attacks from Yemeni forces as well, and then also Iranian forces, the IRGC proxies that are in Syria and in Iraq. That literally was the fear from American military analysts, that like Israel's going to get swarmed on all fronts and not be able to withstand this retaliation. Israel then followed the next 6 months in the most ridiculous, by doing the most ridiculous shit you could imagine. Oh my God, the analyst numbers are growing, by the way. It's ridiculous. It is so nutty. It was never about self-defense. There was no self-defense. There was no self-defense in this regard.